Well, hello, welcome into the 5 Minute Bible Study. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you are having an awesome day. We're going to jump right into it. Last time we were studying in the book of Job, chapter 1. We're going to continue in the first chapter here and look into a little bit deeper into what happened after the enemy started really attacking Job. My hopes with these 5 Minute Bible Studies is just to give you something that you can start your day or maybe continue your day with. To be able to ponder and think about a little bit of what God's doing, not only in your life, but in the Word. You know, a lot of times in the Word, God shows us things that are hopefully revelatory for our lives. And Job might be one of those books that you've read a bunch of times, but I always get something extra every time I go and I jump into the Word. It seems like I'm always getting new revelation. So hopefully that'll be the thing that happens for you as well. So I'm going to start my timer. I'm actually going to get it on 5 minutes here so I can honor your time as well. And we're going to jump it over this way. And you know what? I have spared no expense. I got a fire for you going, and I even got music in the background. I know. You're thinking, wow, the budget for these videos has gone through the roof. Yeah, it's true. And we're going to start our 5 minute timer right there. See, I did it. Oh, there it goes. All right, so let's jump into it. So part 2 of our Job chapter 1. And Satan is now taking Job's property and Job's children. So it says in verse 13, it says, "Now there was a day when his sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in their oldest brother's house. And there came a messenger to Job, and he said, The oxen were plowing, and the donkeys feeding beside them, and the Sabaeans fell upon them, and took them, and struck down the servants with the edge of the sword, and I alone have escaped to tell you." So one of the things that I see from that is that the enemy will often use others against us. Have you ever noticed that it seems like there's always a group of people, maybe in your life, maybe it's somebody at work, somebody at school, and it seems like they're always out to get you? I would say that most likely that could be somebody that the enemy is using, trying to either test you or trying to break you down. So it continues in verse 16. It says, "While he was yet speaking, there came another and said," and this is another tactic of the enemy. The enemy will often try to overwhelm you. Have you ever been in a point where you were struggling with something, some sort of trial, some sort of hardship, and you're standing in faith and you're believing the Lord for a breakthrough, and all of a sudden it seems like something else happens, like it's not stopping. It's like, Lord, why is everything falling apart at the same time? Well, that's a strategy of the enemy, and you need to recognize that. And that's one of the things that hopefully this Bible study is revealing to you, that maybe right now you're under some sort of attack and it's getting amplified and it's one thing after another. I would say that you're probably under some sort of attack and you need to stand in prayer. Could be fasting. You might need to get others around to intercede and to help you. But it's more than likely that the enemy's trying to overwhelm you. So it continues and says, "The fire of God fell from heaven and burned up the sheep and the servants and consumed them, and I alone have escaped to tell you." Right there, it shows us that the enemy will often use things of God and he'll try to blame it on God. He'll say, oh, it was God's fault, or maybe you were expecting provision and all of a sudden this happened to you. You lost your job. You know, why would God let that happen? So the enemy will do this bait and switch and try to do something in your life that will make it so you almost, if you didn't know better, you could blame it on God. And so you would think that this would be a bad tactic, especially against somebody like Job. But the enemy uses that kind of tactic against Christians today all the time, because a lot of times Christians aren't in their word and they don't know that type of attack is coming from the enemy. So it continues in towards verse 17. It says, "While he was speaking, yet another came and said, The Chaldeans formed 3 groups and made a raid on the camels and took them and struck down the servants with the edge of the sword, and I alone have escaped to tell you. And while he was yet speaking, there came another and said, Your sons and daughters were eating and drinking wine in the oldest brother's house, and behold, a great wind came across the wilderness and struck down the 4 corners of the house. And it fell upon the young people, and they're dead, and I alone have escaped to tell you." So this shows us a couple things. One, it shows us the enemy can use natural things, wind, weather, fire. He can use things like that to come against us as well. And what he'll often do, because you see that he took riches, he took the camels, he took the sheep, he came against the children, that the enemy will do those types of things because he's going to come against what you find is most valuable. That's why you always have to be in prayer. You always have to be standing and praying for your family and fighting a spiritual battle. That's why we're supposed to put on the full armor of God daily and not let the enemy have any kind of advantage. And then it said, Job rose and tore his robe and shaved his head and fell on the ground and worshiped. His natural response through times of hardship was worshiping God. This should be also another revelation for us. When you are going through something, a hard time, the worst of the worst, multiple things at one time, not only are you realizing that it's the enemy, but you're also putting yourself in a position, I will respond by worshiping. If you do that, you will activate things in the spirit realm that you have no concept of what is going on. Angels will come, things will break, things will begin to happen. You'll get breakthrough. It even talks in Daniel how when Daniel began to pray, that things begin to happen. Boom. There's the 5 minutes. That was terrible. Those are 5 minutes, and I wanted to honor your guys' time with that, and we are to the end. And all of this, it says, Job did not sin or charge God with wrong. So I hope that blesses you. I hope that 5 minutes was a good, worthy 5 minutes, that it gives you something to think about for the rest of the day. And you can either stop right now, or I'm going to pray for you if you're still here. But Lord, I thank you for those that heard the message today. I ask that you'd put it deep within their heart, that you'd allow it to just to stir them up, and to also put them in a position where they want to be on the offensive, Lord, and not on the defensive, Lord, to put on the full armor of God. Lord, if anyone in this audience right now, anybody who's out and they're watching this video and is struggling right now with some sort of test or trial, Lord, I pray that you would strengthen them, that you will be their strong right hand, and that, Father, you will give them the strength and you will draw them closer to you as they go through this battle. Lord, I believe that you're going to bring them through it victorious. Amen. All right. Well, you guys have a blessed day. Hope this blessed you, and we'll see you on the next 5-minute Bible study.